Welcome back to Off the Schneid. Today we're taking a look at the draft needs for the 2022 NFL Draft for the New England Patriots. You can see my draft team, my team needs right there, and then the draft picks that the Patriots have heading into this year's draft. They got that 5th round pick from the Dolphins in the Devontae Parker trade where they got him back as well. Free agency's kind of wrapping up, trades are wrapping up, but that trade just happened, so there should still be some things trickling in, but the majority of teams are going to be shifting their focus towards the draft in about a month. So let's take a look through the roster and the depth chart here for the Patriots and discuss some of the needs that I think that they have heading into the draft. Mac Jones at quarterback, played well as a rookie last year, looked really good, 22 touchdowns, 13, I believe, interceptions, something like that, 3,800 yards. I think that's right where he's going to be this coming season. I think he can hopefully add to that touchdown total, throw a few less interceptions, turn the ball over a little less with that experience, and add a few more passing yards, maybe 4,200, 42 to 4,400 passing yards, something like that would be more than fine for the way that this offense is going to run, I think. I'll get to that in a second because there's a little bit of clouded doubt to that one. Brian Hoyer and Jared Stidham are still there as backups. That's fine. I mean, eventually you're going to have to dress it. Basically, Jared Stidham is nothing to this team. He's going to walk at some point unless they just have him as the career backup there, a la Brian Hoyer. But we'll see what happens. Running back position's in a good spot. I do think that they could add a pass catching back. Brandon Bolden's gone. James White was hurt last year. He does come back, but we'll see. He is getting a little bit long in the tooth, and injuries like that can continue to occur for him. So I think that they could add, a pass catching back. Obviously, that's all they're going to need. Between Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris, they have enough power on the goal line, that's for sure. And they can chip in a few catches here and there. They're obviously the number 1 and 2, the focal points of this offense as far as running backs are concerned. And then, James White is still there, but you see it there as a need, but it's not extreme, and they do have quite a bit of capital. So I think they could add somebody somewhere just to take the load off of James White or be his replacement. Move over to tight ends. They obviously still have Hunter Henry, who was very good last year, and Jonnu Smith, he was hurt, a little bit banged up last year, but he's a quality tight end. We all know that. We all know who he is. Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene, they were a complete mystery to me. If you watch this channel enough, you saw what I said about those guys in their draft years. Made no sense to me whatsoever, if I'm being honest. And that was, I'm pretty sure before these two tight ends came to third round draft capital on those guys is pretty significant, and this team would be in a lot better position if they didn't select those guys and went with some other positions that they may have needs for now. Let's look at the offensive line. It's in a good spot, but it is a need, and they are starting to creep up here on needing guys. Trent Brown, he's been good for this team and this team only. It's really weird, and maybe it's just the coaching staff. They can get the best out of him. I'm not sure what it is, but he comes back, re-signs with the team, which is a good move for him, good move for the Patriots. It makes sense. James Ferentz, he's fine. I think he was a undrafted free agent last year or something like that. No, not last year. He was 2017 undrafted free agent. I think he's been on this team for a while. I should have looked into that one more, but I think he could be, replaced, or just somebody to come in and have an open competition with the guy and see who wins the battle. And maybe William Sherman, who was a late round pick last year, is that guy, but we'll see. David Andrews comes back again. He's been with this team a long time. He can definitely still get the job done. Michael Onwenu was a pleasant surprise as a 6th round pick. He's a quality player, and he can get the job done at left guard. Isaiah Wynn is very quality left tackle as well. Absolutely can get the job done, but I think they're going to have to add a piece. They have a lot of capital, like I've said, so they can definitely, and I think they will add 1 or 2, potentially 2. I think they should definitely take at least 2 offensive linemen, maybe a third, and have that competition there. But I think it's still a quality unit as a whole, and I think they'll be just fine there as long as everybody stays healthy, which is why they need to add in the draft. Looking at the wide receivers, obviously they just brought in, like I said, Devontae Parker from in division Dolphins, which was a bit of a surprise to me. And I think they got the better end of that trade with the player. They sent a 3rd-round pick, like I said, next year, but got a 5th back this year. I think it was a very good trade for the Patriots. And he's a guy that's different from everybody else except for N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry was the only wide receiver on this team that's different than the rest of the guys. I think, I know that Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, Ty Montgomery, those guys are all very, very, very similar in what they do and what they can do. The only guy that's a little different, N'Keal Harry, big body guy, former 1st-round pick, and this is pretty much the end of the line for him. If he does nothing again this year, I think they're just going to let him walk, and I think obviously just will not pick up his 5th-year option and let him walk. Devontae Parker comes in and kind of becomes, sort of their number 1 receiver, if you can call it that. Kendrick Bourne and Jacoby Myers had just over 800 yards each last year. They were 1 and 2 on this team. And I think Devontae Parker could be that guy as well. Potential, he's a former 1,000-yard receiver, and all the talent's still there. He's still relatively young. I think he's only about 27, 28 years old. So the talent should still be there. And supposedly they've always liked him, playing against him for years. You pick up on some stuff, and I think that he's still a quality player that can get the job done. Wide receiver is a point of need, as it's pretty low on the totem pole, as you can see there, but I think they do need to add a guy. Somebody that I had, kind of pegged out to go to the Patriots by about, it was like week 10 of last season. I was thinking Treylon Burks would fit very well in this offense and with this team. I still kind of think that, but the biggest concern that I have with this offense is they don't have an offensive coordinator. Now that Josh McDaniels is gone, it's a vacant position, and supposedly they want to have Mike Judge, that's the Joe Judge, running this offense. And that's weird to me. There's nobody, like Bill Belichick's a defensive guy, and all of the coordinators that have been there for a while, his son, they're all defensive guys. So I don't know what I'm personally not. I don't love that. That makes me nervous. That makes me nervous that Joe Judge is going to be your offensive coordinator, a former special teams guy. That makes me nervous, if I'm being honest. We'll see how it happens and how it actually works out, and if they do hire somebody or promote somebody or name somebody their offensive coordinator. I'm not sure, but if Joe Judge is the guy coordinating and running your offense, I'm a little concerned. I am. So let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. They need to get after the quarterback a little bit more efficiently. I think they only had like 36 sacks, something like that. Matt Judon was very good for this team. That was a very good pickup when they brought him in. He had 12.5 sacks last year. Fantastic. I think he can absolutely replicate that, but they need a guy that can be, around 8 sacks, push the double-digit sack mark, sort of a thing. They do have a few guys that need to do a better job of getting at the quarterback that they already have on this roster. Larry Guy, Dietrich Wise, Christian Barmore. Those are 3 guys that need to do a little bit of a better job getting after the quarterback and helping in that regard. But I think they absolutely need to add an edge rusher. That's why I have it as their number 2 need. I think they need another guy that can get after the quarterback. A lot of people or mock drafters or whatever you want to call it, they're mocking a linebacker, whether it's Devin Lloyd or Nakobe Dean, to the Patriots. Personally, I don't think that it's that much of a need at linebacker. You don't even see it on my list of team needs there. They have Jawan Bentley, who's a defensive captain who over 100 tackles last year. He's a quality player. Mac Wilson, who's still very young and played with the Browns for a lot of years. He just never quite fit there. Maybe they can get the most out of them here in New England. And I think he's still a quality player that can get the job done if he gets an opportunity, and he might just get that this year. Anthony Jennings was a former 3rd-round pick. I really like him. Raekwon McMillan was a former high draft pick. He's still there, he's still there. I think he was there last year. Maybe not, but he's there. Cameron McGrone, 5th-round pick last year. Tyvi, Harvey Lange maybe, but I think they're okay there. I really do. If they do want to add a guy, sure, but I'm not doing it in the 1st round if it's me. If I'm running this team, I'm not drafting a linebacker with my 1st round selection. I'm just not. My number 1 team need is corner. Obviously, they lost J.C. Jackson. That one made no sense to me. I was screaming for any team to just throw a blank check at J.C. Jackson last year, pay the second round tender because he's more than worth it, and steal him from the Patriots last season. And then just why they didn't want to pay the kid, I don't understand anyways. He's, if not the best, he's one of the top corners in the NFL right now. And they just lost him. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. And I think that becomes a big point of need now for this team. They brought in Malcolm Butler, but he's 32 years old. Terrence Mitchell is still quality. 29 years old, he's getting a little long in the tooth. Shaun Wade, I think, was a quality get for them, but he's strictly a nickel corner. He cannot play outside. We found that out while he was still at Ohio State. This is his second team in the NFL, by the way. He was drafted by the Ravens. Jalen Mills, I still like. He can get the job done. I'm a fan of him. Joejuan Williams, he's quality. He's former second round pick. He's okay. Jonathan Jones is still there. He's quality. And they always have a lot of safeties. This team and this defense, and Bill Belichick just likes those guys that can do a lot of things. Kyle Duggar, I think, was second or third on this team in tackles. He's good. He can get the job done. Jabril Peppers comes in. So they realistically have 4 safeties that can play and can play meaningful downs. You know, you're not dropping off. You're not losing much when those guys come into the game. Devin McCourty is still very good. Adrian Phillips is a quality, strong safety, inside the box type of a guy, tackler, that sort of a thing. But yeah, I picked this team to win the division last year. I did, because their schedule, realistically, there was more to it, and you can go watch those episodes if you wish. But I think that they still have a quality roster for sure. The concerns are offensive coordinator. They do have a lot of depth in the draft. A lot of picks in the draft, a lot of capital that they can sink into this team. So I think they're going to have to address, like I said, corner, and they need somebody to get after the quarterback a little bit better to help out Matt Judon. Offensive line, they're going to have to add a couple guys there, and then a pass-catching running back, like I said. So yeah, there you go. There's the breakdown. There's the draft needs, the depth chart, everything like that you need to know for the New England Patriots. So let me know what you think in the comments. But there's your breakdown for the 2022 New England Patriots.